This is Sharon Holland Gelfand, and she is wait for it, functional diagnostic nutritionist. And she's going to tell you what that means in a moment. But we're going to talk about beyond just what you typically hear a nutritionist talk about. She's going to help you figure out, what does that mean? What are some of these signs and symptoms that our bodies are telling us? And how do we tune into them? And how do we pay attention to really use that for our daily overall health? So, hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
Welcome.
excited to be here.
Glad to have you. So, can you tell us what is the difference between a functional diagnostic nutritionist and, the typical nutritionist, RD, people who work at our gym, those the other types.
Health
What is the
coaches,
difference?
yeah.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Yeah. RDs, registered dietitians, go through a rigorous training program, generally in a hospital setting
Mhm.
that's very specific to disease care. And that's, they focus on nutrition, but a lot of it is really focusing on calories and
Mhm.
a different viewpoint than a nutritionist, which really looks at it more holistically
Okay,
versus a certified health coach, which there are so many
like me.
now. uh, right, that also it's like general health and paying attention to the whole body
Yeah.
as one, which is wonderful as well, versus a certified functional nutritionist. So, what I do in that capacity, a diagnostic nutritionist, is I take the components of being a health coach, but I'm really looking at the root of what's going on.
Cool.
And I'm a health detective. So I'm really bridging the gap between your healthcare and your self-care with specific testing that
Oh,
most
okay.
Western medicine doesn't do. So it's like
Mhm.
specific stool testing to look at the gut. And then I do different types of hormone testing that just looks at our hormones and our cortisol levels,
Yeah.
our stress, fight or
Yes.
flight differently. And so when you take the brain and you take the gut, I basically connect the two. I look
Okay.
at what your symptoms are, and so many of them are like just the common health complaints that we all
Mhm.
have. And we're like, oh, I'm just getting older.
Yeah,
And I,
that too.
yeah, yeah. And I just put all the pieces together basically to help you create a plan
Yeah.
to help you relieve all of these symptoms and just get healthy and feel better and lose weight and have more energy. And the list goes on.
I love how you called yourself a detective. I think that's really cool. And that's a good reason to have someone like you as part of the healthcare continuum. So you have your personal trainers, you have health coaches, you have an RD for those things, you have a detective like Sharon who helps you figure out exactly what's wrong. And I think you're such an important part of, as we're seeing with all these experts in the summit, everybody coming together with a different piece of the puzzle. And I love that you use testing as, a way to use the data to actually find out what's going on.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the kind of testing that you have them do.
Um, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, real life here, people. Um, when somebody comes to me and they are just sick and tired of feeling sick
Mhm.
and tired, it's like they've gone to different practitioners and, like I just said
Mhm.
before, it's like, oh, you're just getting older, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's menopause, it's this. And we get conditioned to think, all right, well, this is just what it is.
Right.
But so much of what is going on, like in our gut, which is our second brain,
Hmm.
it's so telling for what is happening on the rest of our in the rest of our bodies. And so really it's just a stool test that the lab sends directly to your home. So I don't actually look at the stool. That's kind of gross. That's not my job.
We'll leave that to the
um,
MDs.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'll leave it to the lab tech. Let them
Ugh.
take care of it.
Yes.
They mail you the kit. You basically do it at home, and there really aren't any restrictions of what you should or shouldn't eat. And you send it back. I get the results. But what's amazing, it just like maps out so many of the different pathogens and opportunistic bacteria that's going on.
Oh.
Whether you have yeast, you might have a particular type of bacteria that could be a trigger for an
Oh.
autoimmune condition. It's so fascinating, and the science is just growing on being able to interpret really
Right.
what's happening. And I can see if there's pathogens, parasites, yeast, if you
Right.
have a leaky gut,
Mhm.
and just so many different things. It's really, I don't know if you have you ever seen The Matrix?
Yeah.
So unlike Keanu Reeves at the end where he sees the Matrix and all those like numbers, like that's me. Like I
Yeah,
get these test results and it's like, oh my God,
and it all comes together for you.
it all comes together. And then I speak with my clients. I'm like, all these symptoms that you've been experiencing, well, here's kind of why, and here's what we can do.
So
and
cool.
and yeah, and then depending on the person and what they need, well, I'll put them on a protocol, which will be, it's actually called like the dress protocol. So
Mhm.
it's diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplements. And it's just, there are a lot of common denominators for so many people,
Mhm.
but what I love are all the different results that
Yeah.
I tweak for each person. So it's really cool.
So what are some of those common denominators you're seeing?
A lot of people have a marker that shows sensitivity to gluten,
Oh, okay.
which doesn't necessarily mean you're celiac. Because a lot
Mhm.
of people automatically think, "Oh my God, I'm celiac."
You'd kinda know if you were.
You
Yeah.
exactly, but it's also indicating if you have that your gut is leaky, and even though there's also a zonulin marker that is a
Mhm.
protein marker to actually check for leaky gut.
Oh,
And basically, like as your gut, kind of the villi
yeah.
separate the intestines, it's allowing for all these bad and good stuff to enter
Good.
and leave. So that's a common denominator that so many people have. And also, it's just like a opportunistic bacteria that is not imbalanced. So it's just showing
Mhm.
like a little bit of a dysbiosis, meaning we're not taking care of our gut.
Yeah.
And we all need to support it with different synergistic formulas, which may include marshmallow root or aloe
Mhm.
or, a plethora of things to really help heal,
Yeah.
that goes beyond food. So
Right.
those are the common denominators. And people, if I tell you, I had a gentleman the other day, yeah, I've been getting a lot more gas lately, but that's normal.
You're like, "Is it?"
It's common,
Yeah.
but it's not normal.
Right. There's a big difference between common
Yeah.
and normal.
Exactly. But again, we've been so conditioned, right? So we listen
Right.
to all this noise. And when I said that to him, he's like, I didn't think about it that way. Right.
See, you're already worth the money.
Yeah. And I mean, I generally work with women. And interestingly, I work with the women in their 40s and 50s who are going through hormonal
Yeah.
changes. Um, but what's interesting is after I work with them, they say to me, "Can you help my 20 some odd year old,
Yeah.
daughter, son?" And they're just something's wrong. They're off. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can, but do they want to? Right?
Right.
That's a tough age.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun age, but man, that's a tough age because you're invincible.
I know, but it's really fascinating that so many of
Yeah.
them are experiencing all of these issues, and we really do have to get to that root of why is it happening at such a young
Yeah.
age. You
What are
know,
what are some of those symptoms that bring people to you?
honestly, like it's those common symptoms. I'm constipated. Oh,
Mhm.
but that's got to be normal, right?
No,
Or
it's not
right,
normal.
or the gas that they're
Yeah.
experiencing, a lot of bloating that we've
Oh,
just gotten used to living with. Take
yeah.
the antacids, right? Those are such most of the common symptoms. But then I also have people who are coming to me with like, my joints are just aching and they're stiff.
Ooh.
And here's the common thing: I read an article that food might have something to do with it,
Oh,
and because
so
I'll
they're
ask them like,
informed.
what made you decide
Yeah.
to come see me? I mean, usually I get it's word of mouth referrals,
Yeah.
but when it comes down to it, it's like, I kind of read something and I wasn't sure, and I thought maybe I should just
Mhm.
like look into this, like go a little further.
Yeah.
And a lot of these aches and joints, the aches and pains that we're feeling in our joints, a lot of it is triggered by what we're eating, what we're not eating, what we're supporting, the
Really?
probiotics. Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
There are different triggers that can lead to People as they get older, rheumatoid arthritis,
Yeah.
psoriatic arthritis. Um, yeah, and a lot of times when that light bulb goes off, and they're like, "Oh my God, I just like didn't even connect the dots,"
Yeah.
you know. And then but many people, it's I'm tired. I have no energy. The doctor says it's chronic fatigue, or I have fibromyalgia, or I don't want to get old like this. You
Yeah.
know?
And we're already tired from our own lives. We don't want it to be also health based.
Yeah. I have no energy. I can't wake up in the
Mm.
morning. And of course, I can't lose weight. I'm getting older and I can't lose weight. I don't understand it. I'm doing everything right. I'm dieting. I'm exercising. What else can I do?
Yeah. Well, I'll be talking at another point in this summit about the I think I'm doing everything right. But there's some things where it actually is a medical problem. I mean, there's inflammation is something that we don't often think about, and that can certainly contribute to, lots of ailments.
Right. Exactly. That's the biggest trigger is that inflammation. And when we're so busy not paying attention, because
Hmm.
like for me, for instance, um, I mean, the reason I became a nutritionist was because my son was diagnosed with Crohn's 10 years
Oh,
ago.
wow.
And I just went on this journey really to help him,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, yeah, I don't need any of this help. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
But as I was studying and helping him heal, I didn't realize that, and I don't even think I've ever shared this with you, but so I was taking Imatrix shots for migraines.
Oh,
I had IBS.
oh,
That was like,
oh.
all right, I'll take an antacid for that.
Yeah.
I always got eye inflammation, so my eyes were always inflamed. I couldn't wear makeup.
Jeez.
I had dry skin beyond belief. I was like constant, like medicated creams.
Oh,
Okay, wait, there's more. Wait, there's more.
oh
I, w-
God.
I was always getting strep throat. Like I want to say 4 to 5 times a year.
What?
Right, antibiotics. Right, ding, 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 ding.
Oh my
Right.
God.
How many times, like for everybody listening, have
Yeah.
you or your children been on antibiotics? Great, kills the bad
Yeah,
bacteria
they're
along
great.
with the good. There you go,
Yeah.
dysbiosis. And I thought I was healthy. And on
Yeah.
top of that, I have what's called a pituitary adenoma,
Oh.
a benign brain
Hmm.
tumor right
Yeah.
here, right? Which I have twins, by the way, not
Oh, I didn't know that.
through, through medicine, because I have a pituitary adenoma.
Oh.
So, medicine for that. I thought I was healthy. I was so busy living life as we all do and just compartmentalizing everything
Hmm.
and not paying attention. And the universe was like, knock, 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 knock. Okay, let's throw a brick at
What
you.
else can I do to you? Are you miserable
Exactly.
yet?
Exactly. So even for me, like when I finally did testing on my body, I was like, oh my God. It was like a Christmas tree that lit up.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe because I thought I was healthy,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Right? It's just amazing, and I love that there's an answer, that there's something you can
Yes.
do, and that there's hope. There's really,
Yeah.
it's just that like waking up and becoming aware of, oh my God, I actually have a choice.
You don't have to feel poorly. There's
Yeah.
a way to at least help out there. And that, what you're doing with helping people find what's going on, we have so much more that we can do. We have, doctors who can do these lab tests. We have people like you who can create that protocol and specifically focus on that
Hmm.
functional nutrition. We have
Yeah.
people who can help with everything. And, it upsets me to see people live you know, miserable, out
Yeah.
of energy. They're exhausting themselves. They don't feel well. And that's not normal. Like you had said, common, but not normal.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And you know what I love, Kelly, about what we do is, of course, we want to help people get
yeah,
healthy
of
and we
course.
want to give them the tools because we really want to empower everybody to just ask questions. Don't be
Yes,
afraid to ask questions.
yes.
It's like no pun intended, but my gut instinct when I was in the doctor's office with my son, who was freaking out because all he heard
Oh,
was disease and he thought he was going to die.
right.
And I said, well, should I look at what he's eating? Like, it's you're talking about his, and I knew
Mhm.
nothing. I didn't know it was an autoimmune. I had no idea
Yeah.
what it was. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry about food. The medicine will help him." And it was really that gut instinct of that doesn't that nah, I'm not so sure
Yeah.
about that. And P.S. She put him on his first medication, Pentasa. Within a week, my son was crying that he felt worse. So here's my
Oh,
son on
no.
one side, "Mommy, I'm worse. It's the medicine." Here's the doctor on the other side. It's the disease,
Right.
and I'm in the middle, like,
I just want my son to feel better.
which is it? Who do I
Yeah.
listen to? Right? Because we want to listen
Yeah.
to the expert,
Of
but
course.
my son knew his body,
Yeah.
and you know what? It was the medicine. He
Well,
was right.
and let's be real. The experts have to rely on us to tell them things, and often we're afraid
Exactly.
to tell the experts. And I mean, let the expert make the call. Don't start diagnosing yourself off of WebMD. But you
Absolutely.
have to give them the feedback and the information so they can adjust and help you. And I'm glad
Exactly.
your son persisted and kept saying, "Mommy, I don't feel well."
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And, listen, doctors save lives. I love
Yeah.
when I work with somebody who has a doctor I can work with because really it's a
Yes.
team. It's a team
Absolutely.
effort. Whether it's
The
the
whole thing's a team.
chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
Acupuncturist, chiropractor, physical therapist, whoever you're seeing,
Yeah.
it's a team effort. Like I sometimes will do the diagnosis and then not the diagnosis because I don't diagnose.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical
Yeah.
professional, but I'll get these results and correlate everything. And somebody actually
Yeah.
might be working with a holistic health coach or other type of practitioner,
Mhm.
and they want to go back to working with them. I'm like, that's wonderful. Here's all the
Yeah.
information, and I'm here to be part of that team. And
Absolutely.
we have to help each other because it's your life, it's your health.
Right. Well, that's everybody should have a health team assembled. They should
Yeah,
have at least understand or have, someone they trust to give referrals. That's what's so powerful about a doctor who's well connected and well respected. They have that connection to all these people they can refer you to. You can build your own referral team as well. The doctors might know specialists, but have somebody who can help you with those things that the doctor can't figure out, or
right,
your overall wellness, a personal trainer, whatever it may be. It's
right.
important to assemble that health team.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And many times when they come back with parasites, I'm
Ooh,
bound, by law to give them a letter that
yeah.
like, listen, you have to share this with your doctor. Your doctor
Yeah.
needs to know this, and then you need to know that you have options
Right.
where we can work together. You can go like, here are your options.
Yeah.
It's your choice. You get to decide, but like here it is all laid out for you. And I think I really feel like this is kind of how we're starting to move because
Hmm.
we're a very smart society, right? There's
Yes.
a lot of information at our fingertips, too much, but
Yeah.
we really are moving to in that direction of I need to know my options. I need to know
Yes.
what else. Don't tell me it has to be just this way.
Well, that's what I got my doctorate in health communication, and we are dedicated. My department, my friends and colleagues from there, my advisor, we are dedicated to empowering patients to be educated and to feel like they can ask the questions, they can get out there, and if they don't understand something, that the professionals will explain it to them. And it took a long time for that movement to catch on, and it frustrated us for a long time. But I think you're right. We're really socially, we're moving in that direction where we are feeling more comfortable as patients to seek help, to ask the questions. And,
Right.
the doctor doesn't know everything. We can't expect the doctor to know in that 15-minute appointment. Those poor people are rushed, and you have to give them that feedback and let them know, and be empowered to say what's wrong and
Yeah.
if you still don't feel well.
Right, right. You really hit the nail on the head with that. Is that when they're feeling rushed,
Mm-hmm.
they they start to forget what they want to say because they don't write it down, which is so important. I tell
Yeah,
my clients to write everything
everything.
down,
Yes.
everything. And sometimes even when clients are looking for doctors, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you should have a list of questions to interview your doctor, but more
Yeah.
importantly, getting back to your point of the
Mhm.
doctors are so rushed, it really is up to us as the patients, as the consumer,
Yeah.
to be able to share what we're feeling, like really very thoroughly in a short period of time.
And
But
most people can't do that.
they can't, because they don't have the words, because they don't
Hmm.
know what they don't know.
Right, exactly.
And so that's how I felt at first. It's like, if you don't know what to ask, you don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
And then if the doctors are pressed for time and they're also specialists,
Right.
right? They have their specialty. They didn't get certain trainings in other specific areas. And even with nutrition, they didn't get
Yeah.
the type of training that they should get.
That's why
Because,
good ones refer you out.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
if your doctor does not refer you to a specialist, you may want to interview a new doctor because they
right,
can't know
exactly.
everything.
Exactly. The worst is somebody that makes you feel that you're asking a stupid question.
Oh my gosh, yes. Never make another appointment again with any practitioner who makes you feel
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. We actually ended up switching doctors, and this new one. I mean, my son's older now, but back then was like very open to hearing all of these studies that I was, reading about and learning, and
Yeah.
all these different types of supplements. And I loved it because we were a team.
Yes,
Yes, my
that's what
son
it's
needed
supposed to
medication.
be.
Right. Yes,
Hmm.
he absolutely needed medication, but we were a team.
Yes.
And I think that's also where people get nervous. Like, again,
Hmm.
getting back to, they're afraid to ask that question, but we're all people.
Right.
We're all human beings, no one's better than the next. Okay, maybe somebody has more training, but we
Exactly.
all, if you work with somebody who's compassionate and
Yes.
your health is in their best interest, just you and your health,
Definitely.
there's no agenda, there's no pharmaceutical company breathing down their
There's
backs.
nothing holding them back. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
know
yeah,
what? There is no way to shock, gross out, horrify, or irritate a doctor or other health practitioner. Just
yeah.
they've seen something way worse than you.
Oh my
So
God,
being
absolutely.
open is the best.
And it's funny because I talk about stool a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
how is your bowel movement? Like, have you looked at the chart? Where were your bowel?
Yeah.
Where were your poops today?
Yeah. And you know what? It's not horrifying and gross. It's a-okay. We all do
I
it.
know. Yeah, yeah.
We all have the same body parts.
Sometimes my clients are like, "Was that too much information?" I'm like, "No, the more
The more the
information, the
better.
better." Which is
Yeah.
just which is great. But I think also getting to know a client, which I know that you do also. It's like
Yeah.
getting a really good health history, really
Yes.
getting the proper symptoms checked off, how long
Yeah.
something's been going on, how they're truly feeling, and then
Yeah.
even the emotional part of, what does this mean in your life? Like, what would your life look like 5 years from now if you don't do anything about it?
I just asked that question. I possibly some people that I interviewed for book
Uh-huh.
research are on here, but
Oh, that's so
I
funny.
I just asked that question. If nothing changed from what you're doing right now with your health today, what would you look like and feel like in 5 years? And
Yeah.
every single one of them went, ugh. And when we think 5 years forward, they were thinking, well, they all said, well, I'd probably be heavier, probably be even more tired than I am today. And it made them all stop and think, well, ooh, I don't want that. And, you know, we're all in charge. We all have power. You might not be able to fight a disease or cancer easily or something like that. But for the most part, in our general health, we have that power to change things. Just like you were saying with the dress protocol. You
Yeah.
have the power to change stuff. You tell
Yeah.
me a little
Yeah.
bit more about how you help people out like with those protocols and what changes they've seen from, really making those healthy changes in their lives.
Yeah, sure. So once they and I have this extensive, it's like a 20-page health intake. So
Ooh,
so if somebody doesn't want to work with
data.
me, if they don't fill it out, I know right away. I'm like, okay, we're not a good fit.
Yeah.
Once I get all of that, once we get the results back, again, whether it's the just the stool
Mhm.
test, whether it's the urine and gut test, I sit down with them, and of course, the first thing is like, let's look at what you're eating. They have to keep a
Yes.
food journal throughout the whole time they're working with me. They have to keep a food journal, and I always
Mhm.
say, I'm not judging you. This isn't about judgment.
Right.
I want to help you. So it's always about the symptoms, right? So
Mhm.
that part of the diet, because
Yeah.
I believe in dieting.
Yeah, dieting, it works until it doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And depending on, like, let's say somebody really has extreme sensitivity to
Mhm.
certain foods, it's like, you know what, we have to take this out. But
Yeah.
for many people, again, it really depends. So it's about tweaking that and saying, let's start by adding in stuff. Let's start by switching things up. That's the diet part so
That's
that
what I
they
do
can,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Because you want it to be part of your lifestyle. And that's
Yeah.
well, like you just said, diets don't work because nobody wants to keep being deprived
Well,
because
no.
eventually it backfires and then they're back to their bag of chips and Oreo cookies.
Exactly, which
Um,
are okay sometimes, by the way. It is okay sometimes.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that once you really understand
Mhm.
your body, then the whole idea is all right, let's look at our week on a Sunday. And if you have a few
Yeah.
events going on, plan that if I'm going to be out 2 nights this week, let me make sure the rest of the time
Yeah.
I'm really taking care of myself so that when I go out, I'll be mindful. But if I want to have the hors d'oeuvres or I want to drink or I want to have a piece of cake, it's
It's
okay.
okay. Yeah,
And I
it's
don't have to feel
okay.
bad about it, right? I don't have to, beat myself up and feel guilty and feel like, oh my God, that's it. My
Right.
diet's over,
Right.
catastrophe. So that's part
Exactly.
of it. The rest is, looking, the rest part, the R,
Mhm.
is looking at sleep patterns. And
Yeah.
some people, they're low in melatonin. So I don't always necessarily start with melatonin. It depends. I might give
Right.
them something like 5-HTP, which is like that
Yeah.
precursor to help them, or both. It really depends on the person. So again, right, seeing what your sleep habits are. Let's see what we can do to turn off the electronics and TV
Yeah.
an hour before bed, right? All of that for the rest.
Yeah.
Exercise, again, looking at what they're doing. Sometimes people are like, it's all about cardio. I've got to work out 2 hours. No, you have to be
No, I
efficient
hope you like
with your
cortisol
workout.
if you're gonna do that, because you're gonna
Exactly.
stress yourself out. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you said that because when we exercise, it's stress on our bodies. And people are
Good
like, well,
stress,
but
but you can't do too much.
right. It's like if we're trying to heal your body. You don't want to overdo it
Right.
because you're just going to be, releasing, more of those,
Yeah.
that cortisol. It's like, no. So
Yeah.
it's trying to help them also shift the mindset and their
Right.
perspective. So we work on that. The stress reduction could be just like the four
Mhm.
seven eight breathing technique,
Yeah.
which
Always
Dr.
good.
Wild, right? It's a great one.
Yeah.
People can look that up on YouTube. And the supplements depends where they're at. If there's
Yeah.
parasites, we have to hit that first.
Of course.
Before I do anything, it's always about supporting the gut, building
Mhm.
it up with the mucosal support. And again, like I was
Mhm.
saying, the aloe, the marshmallow, maybe some adaptogenic herbs. It depends. So
Right.
it's all a protocol. And some of these protocols can be like 60, 90
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And then I check in with them. They have unlimited email access to me. We talk like, let's say every other week, but they have to
Mhm.
send me the food journals. And it's really the changes that they've noticed are before you can even lose weight, you have to get healthy
Oh, of
because your body's
course.
holding onto the toxins.
And you get
So this
healthy because, or you lose weight because you've gotten healthy, not the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what they've noticed is that the gas goes away, the bloating disappears. They're not as achy, they're sleeping better. They don't need as
Yeah.
much sleep because they're sleeping better,
Yeah.
right? They're waking up in the morning, they have more energy. They don't need that afternoon the 3 o'clock coffee or diet
Yeah.
soda or caffeine.
Guilty.
And hey, I've been there. And
Yeah.
then there are days, as you know, where we're running around so crazy and busy ourselves that it's like, oh my God, 1 o'clock. And like, why do I feel so lightheaded? Shoot,
Yeah.
I forgot to eat.
Yeah.
Right?
Which
It
happens all the
happens.
time.
It happens. And then
Yes.
I tell people how to be prepared. So, they eventually lose weight for those that need to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a shift in from body
Mhm.
fat to muscle. And
Yeah.
they lose fat, but not necessarily weight. And that's another thing of like making them realize, let's look at what's happening in your body. Do
Right.
your clothes fit better? Do you feel tighter? Are you stronger?
Yeah.
And people lose weight. And many people type 2 diabetes, they don't have to take their medication anymore.
Yeah,
They've
that's
lost their
great.
cholesterol naturally. And honestly, the aches and pains, the tiredness, that
Mhm.
energy level, those are the biggest things that people get excited about, that they're like, wow, I have not felt this good in years.
And
And
everything
it's,
changes when you feel well. When you have that energy,
yeah,
you just you want to eat better. You're not, feeling that you need a quick boost and you're not craving those fatty calories, things that are just overwhelming. You're not overeating. You feel good.
yeah, yeah,
And
because you're listening to your
yeah.
body.
And that overall health is part of the whole mission of this summit is healthy lifestyle. And I sometimes I put clients on a diet, but it's often like you had said, replacing with the good stuff, adding in good things, and it crowds out the bad. And that's essentially what's going on with the dress protocol. You are adding in these good habits, and eventually, you start to feel really great, and
Yeah.
you want to keep up that great feeling. So it really starts to snowball, and your motivation skyrockets to live that well and that healthy lifestyle because you feel great.
Right, right. I had one client who, before she even before we got the results back of the gut test, just changing a few things in her diet,
Yeah.
she emailed me and she's like, "Oh my God, like I didn't even realize this, but my husband said I'm actually nicer in the morning."
Oh, wow.
Like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Because
Got to get
again,
my husband on that.
it's like if you're feeling well, right? And you're
Yeah.
feeling better, you're nicer because you've taken care of you
Mhm.
first. And that's another thing,
Yes.
like we're so conditioned to put ourselves last.
It's a social thing for women. It is ingrained in us.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something that is
Yeah,
so part of our roles in society that it's natural. And
yeah,
we tend to beat ourselves up over it too. If we could just accept that we are overly caring of others, that would be great. But we also beat ourselves up over being like that, trying to take care of ourselves, forgetting about it, and then we get that whole myth of having it all. And
oh my God.
we can't have it all. You got to pick. And I
Yeah,
vote for your health first.
definitely. I agree. I mean, it's like sometimes when I do my workshops, I'll start with, asking people if they've been on an airplane, and you know
Yeah.
how the flight
Yeah.
attendants go through everything. And well, what happens if there's a change in air pressure?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, the oxygen mask drops. Then what? What do they tell you to do? And people kind of stare at me, and then somebody will raise their hand and say, "Put it on yourself first, right?" Like they're
Yeah.
afraid to. Like, yeah, but why? And it's like the light bulb will go off. Good, because good dead to other people if you
Right.
don't put the oxygen
But
mask
it's
on.
so against everything you want to do because you see somebody else, we're good people underneath it all. And it's our
Yeah,
inclination to help somebody else to, you're exhausted and overwhelmed, but your friend really needs you to do something, so you do it. And you get
yeah,
more exhausted and overwhelmed, and you just keep giving and giving and giving. And for many of us, it's just part of our nature. And for especially those out there who are the real high achievers, always hitting goals, always getting something right at work, at home, and family, we tend to forget about ourselves. And you can't keep achieving these cool things if you're empty.
yeah, exactly. And that's it includes also people's spirituality or
Mm-hmm.
religion or any other
Sure.
way that they need to fill their cup, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's just so many different ways to do that. And yeah, I agree. And once you start doing that and you're not obsessing over the diet and the vacation
Mm-hmm.
and oh my God, I've got to, lose 5 pounds so I can fit into my bathing suit,
Yeah.
then you have time to relax and
Yes.
enjoy what you're supposed to be enjoying and do what you're
Exactly.
supposed to be doing and have a clearer mind because
Yes.
it affects the way you think. I mean,
Oh,
the
yeah.
vagus, right? The vagus nerve is like the superconductor
Mm-hmm.
highway between the two. It's like sometimes our body, our gut is thinking for our brain. And
Yeah,
it's like imagine the possibilities. To me, that's like, wow. Like
right.
imagine what else you could do when you get rid of that baggage
Right. When
and
you
everything
just feel
associated with
good.
it.
When that's your everyday state of just feeling good, you're
Yeah.
happier, you can achieve more, you're nicer to others, and it just makes
Yes.
life better.
It really does. And then your energy is lifted to a point where you actually start attracting the people like that.
Yeah, they want to
And
be with you, they want to help
yeah,
you.
yeah, right? And it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, cool, this opportunity and that. And it's like, oh my God, how did this happen? Well,
Suddenly
because
you're a very lucky person.
yeah, right,
Right?
right. And it's like, oh my God, because I've shifted and I've kind
Yeah.
of just like gone to this newer place and
Yeah.
hey, it feels good. I'm going to stay here.
Exactly. Well, one more question before you leave
Sure.
us. If you had one piece of advice to give everybody, just one, and I know that's hard to narrow it down, what is something they can do today to start on that road to feeling better? I know that was kind of,
One?
sorry, I dropped a bomb
Oh my
there.
god. One piece of advice. Can it be like parts A and B?
Okay, it can be a two-parter.
um, you know, the first thing is really just awareness
Hmm.
of what you're thinking about food and eating the food.
Yeah,
It's like just that awareness of what you're putting to into your mouth, and because that's the biggest key to
yeah.
anything. But and this is going to sound probably a little different, maybe than I don't know what you're expecting to hear. I'm really
I
a
have no
woman.
expectations.
Um, is one biggest tip is just like start to chew your food. Wait, be
Hmm,
aware, pay attention,
yeah.
and chew your food because when you start to chew your food and you put your fork down, or if
Hmm.
it's a sandwich, you put the sandwich down, and you just sit there, you're present,
Yeah,
right? So being
yeah,
present allows your body to kind of relax.
yeah.
And if you chew, it's like, masticating in your mouth like 20 to 30 times, where
Hmm.
digestion actually starts, then it does two things. It slows you down
Yes.
so that you don't get that indigestion, right? It also
Right.
creates more surface area from the food because they're tiny particles
Yeah.
now, so that it can actually get digested and the nutrients
Hmm,
being absorbed.
that's really interesting.
Yeah. But even more importantly, as you slow down and your stomach and your brain
Yeah.
start to talk to each other, you end up eating less,
Huh.
you end up getting fuller sooner,
Yeah.
and you end up you can lose, like many people, and studies have shown this, where people have lost like 10% of their weight like in a year. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight.
But it's a lifestyle.
It's a
Yeah.
lifestyle, and that chewing just brings you into being present to you.
Yeah.
You're aware and chewing, and that's that first connection to you, so that you can start paying attention to everything else.
Okay, that
Hap-
that was a good two-parter. That
okay.
that was worth cheating with two.
Okay, thank you. Whew.
Well, you have given us a lot, and I think that we can all at least commit to the next thing we eat, we chew it thoroughly. I think we can all
Yeah.
commit to that. Sharon's given us something easy to do.
and
But
and if anybody has like young kids, it's actually a fun game to play at the kitchen table. Well, it's like, oh, let's see who can have the mushiest food in their mouth, and let your kids stick their tongues out and show that, because it's gross and it's ew, but kids
they love
love
it.
it.
It's
They love
gross, and they
it.
love gross stuff.
They love gross. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was really helpful. I think we can all figure out a bit more about tuning into really what's going on in our bodies. And remember, everybody, once you've tuned into it, tell your healthcare providers and
Yes,
tell them what's up. So, thank you,
absolutely.
Sharon.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I had a great time speaking with you, Kelly.
Oh,
Thanks.
thanks a lot.